It was that I was stirred away from our stock standard analyze games and telling you about all your terrible mistakes. And instead, we are going to go on exploring further tactics to build up your bank of patterns, so that pattern recognition is going to come more naturally to us. By the way, I did go through your games, and I have seen some very good things there. So, in general, just take a nice compliment from me as a general one, which is very rare. So, man, we are starting this lesson on a very high note. I mean, I promised very little abuse, and then I compliment you. Time to see my doctor. All right.
What's going on, Andras?
That's right. It is something is not working here. I'm going to cover out these moves. What a genius I am. All right. So try not to look up on the moves. Oh, actually, I can make them go away, can't I?
Yes, check the 3 lines a little bit.
Huh. You are a hero. Okay. So, I'm going to put you on the white side of this business, and I will ask you from here on to propose moves and tell me why, and you know, just the usual drill about how you would play for white.
Alrighty. From here?
Yep, from right here.
Wow. Sure, not so easy actually.
It is easy. Chess is easy, Philip. We have discussed it so many times.
Alright. Maybe bishop c4.
Very good. What makes you want to go to bishop c4, Philip?
Trying to secure the d5 square.
The d5 square, beautiful. Because the d5 square is a what?
It looks like an outpost to me.
Brilliant, indeed. So already black, by playing these two moves, has damaged his own pawn structure very badly, or rather, I should say, the structure in general, and d5 is an outpost. Also, it's looking quite nice that we are 70 miles ahead in development already. So things are going really our way. What do we do now? I mean, we get disappointed, obviously, because after 3 lemons, they finally played a good move. Actually, I'm being harsh because the first 2 were quite okay. The third one was a pity feat.
Alright. I'm looking at d3 so that I can get my bishop out here.
Very good.
Or...
No, don't or. Did you want to say castles?
No, you're right. Moving the knight to the outpost now is a bad idea. I'm not done with my development.
This is not a bad idea, but it's not a particularly good one.
Right.
Because, yeah, it's more important to finish development. Alright. Knight here.
Alright, so his idea is, I guess, to swap off the knights if I plant the knight there. Maybe...
Actually, no. I will let you speak. Take your time.
I mean, I'll get a bishop there if he does that. So I would like to play here bishop g5.
Traditionally, Philip, we don't tend to appreciate the value of this pin as much as we would this one.
Yep.
Because it's somehow just easier to block it in a variety of ways. Right. I think bishop g5 was actually played in the game, if I remember correctly, but it is actually not the best move. Knight ge7 is actually a losing blunder. And you can exploit a weak spot here by playing the correct attacking move. Which you would be familiar with if you were an e4 player, but because if you are a d4 player, these things wouldn't have popped up in your games as many times as they would have if you were an e4 player.
Interesting.
You will understand it as soon as it gets revealed. So, what appears to be a soft spot here for black, Philip?
f7.
F7
does.
Indeed. Let's do something brutal over there. I'm hoping that in the back of your mind you are already picturing our best friend.
Yeah, okay, so I'm looking at bishop f7 check, king takes f7, knight g5 check, king back,
Yep.
queen h5 check. But then no, queen h5 doesn't work, I think.
No, I think that you overdid a little bit picturing our good friend Tyson here and punching him in the nose too hardcore. Bishop takes f7 is actually unnecessary and a bit too early. There is a more drastic, or actually less drastic but more effective way to hit here. Which is based on the fact that it's not defensible.
Oh wow, really?
Which
Maybe
is why this was a big rubbish move. Sorry?
I was looking at the difference between sort of f6 and what he played.
Not a lot. Actually, against knight f6 the same move would win. So, yeah.
This is what I was wondering. So knight g5 here?
Yes, correct. Very good. Knight g5 and f7 is not defendable.
Okay.
It's game. Now, that's the reason why black should have played in this position. Bishop e7, a rare occasion, when developing the bishop first before the knight is sound. Because now knight g5 is impossible on account of takes.
Right. I've also seen h6, knight h6. Or just h6.
Okay, h6 is rubbish because it's not developing. And knight h6 is rubbish because it's not developing the piece towards the center. And the bishop in this structure inevitably will go to e7 anyway, so we might as well put it there. Let's say white castles, and after knight f6, knight g5 is meaningless already because of castles. Well, actually, meaningless is harsh. It fits in very well in what white needs to do here, because then f4 allows white to continue this kingside initiative, but this is what black should have done anyway. So knight e7, blunder, knight g5, game over. They didn't do that though, they played here. So you are already better than the white player was in this game, Phillip, so another compliment to you. Bishop g4. That creates a what, Phillip? Correct. Now, can I ask you please to memorize this position here? More or less.
Yeah.
Okay, so have a good look of what's happening.
Yes.
And now I'm going to show you something that you have already seen, but repetition. Repetition, my friend, is the mother of learning. So e4, e5, knight f3, d6, knight c3, lemon move, bishop c4, bishop g4. If you look at the two positions here and here, what are the motives or the features that you would say that they are sharing, they have in common?
Both got the knight and bishop on the same place, and the queen is pinned, or the bishop is pinning the knight.
Yeah, the knight is pinned to the queen. So, in fact, there is a lot in common between this and this. Yeah?
Yeah.
Now, I did show you this position, I think 2 weeks ago, that bishop g4 here is in fact a losing move because of this very famous tactics of knight takes on e5. And when they take the queen, how did we give a mate into here, Phillip? No pressure?
None at all, but I think it was bishop takes and then knight to d5. Checkmate.
Very good. Bishop takes, king here, knight d5 mate. Yep, so basically I taught you or showed you this, Phillip, because I wanted it to be engraved in your brain, totally irremovable, so that when you see something like this, you immediately make the connection. Because the main features of the position are the same. Now I'm being particularly dirty with you, because knight takes e5 here is actually a losing move. You will tell me why. What can black do here that will make us cry?
So if bishop takes queen, takes king there.
King where?
Ah. Whoa. That's... Huh. The bishop takes would actually be mate if he takes the queen.
Correct. So that's definitely not gonna make us cry. What will?
um, oh, his knight is in c6 in this instance. What if he just recaptures hitting our bishop?
Well, it's irrelevant that it hits
And
our bishop.
protecting.
What's relevant is that it's guarding this bishop. So if you go back to my original example, if they chose to take back, we just grab a free bishop.
Yep.
Yeah, now this one is not going to work here because after knight takes, we're going to cry. Okay,
Yes.
now I'm going to teach you the somewhat more complex version of this game now, so watch carefully. Instead of h6, let's say they play knight c6. Yeah, which is infinitely better than h6 would have been. Bishop c4 still, bishop g4. Knight takes e5, and now we know that knight takes e5 is going to cause us lots of grief and disappointment.
Yes.
But now we can be smart cookies and play here pawn h3. Asking this bishop what it wants to do. And when the bishop drops back to h5, that's when you take it, because now it's not guarded again. Hence my constant warning of be careful with creating pins with unguarded pieces. Because now this is actually threatened. So if imagine if the bishop was guarded, then this trick wouldn't work because they would just take here and the bishop is covered.
Yep.
Yeah. Now if they take here, the mate is the same. The knight there on c6 doesn't make any difference whatsoever.
That's very nice.
Yep. And finally, if the knight takes, then we can take on h5. But the story doesn't end here, Philip, because now they can take this. However, we will be the ones who will laugh last, because there is one last tactics left in the position here that will win the game for white.
Wow.
Which is not that surprising given that we already see a loose piece on the board. So we actively start looking for checks.
Yeah, so b5 check, excellent.
Beautiful. Check, pawn up, queen takes, and we netted a pawn in the winning position. Yep.
Sure.
So that tells you what the correct move is in this position.
So I need to start playing e4. And the correct move here is probably h3 then.
You don't need to start playing e4, Philip. There is nothing wrong with you being a d4 player. That was just a reference to explain to you why you are not necessarily as familiar with this motif complex than some other players on your level would be. That's purely coming down to the fact that you're not an e4 player. That's not a negative quality. It's just a different world.
Yep.
Now h3 wasn't played. Instead, what they did was that they played knight d5, which is a bit iffy. And now after knight d4, white again can use this tactics of jumping the knight away and then deliver a beautiful mate. But now there is a little bit of extra added to this motif system that I showed you here. So now you will have to work out something a little bit more subtle. So actually I'm going to execute the first move for you, knight e5. And obviously if they take the knight, then we can take here.
Yes.
Although even here, there we need to calculate the line with knight takes c to check, but I will take care of that for you. The question, Philip, is what's happening now if they take the queen? Because now our knight is awkwardly in the way of the bishop. So your job is to tell me what happens in case of bishop d1.
Wow. So looking at knight c7, check, queen takes. Bishop takes an f7. Check. King goes to e8.
Right, stop it there, Philip. Very good calculation. Liked every single bit of it. Let's just put that line on hold for the time being. See if you can do something else.
Okay. Is
knight c7 your only check?
No, I'm looking at the other one. F6, knight F6 check. Pawn. Oh, that works. Knight F6, pawn takes, bishop takes, F7 check. Mate.
Bingo! Well
Yeah.
done. Well done, my friend. Well done. This is how the game ended. They took and then knight f6 check. So now you need to clear the path of the bishop. And this check is no good because after the queen takes, it actually vacates the square on d8 for the king. So you go f6 takes and bishop takes. Now, even if you have never seen this before, Philip, because of you have already seen the motif without the knight on d5, even after knight d5, knight d4, you do look at this because you know that this pattern has a tendency of working.
Yes.
And you just keep on looking and looking and looking until you find out that actually it does work after bishop d1 because of knight f6 takes and the beautiful mate on f7.
It's very nice.
It is very nice, yes. And as a last note, if takes, queen takes, knight check, king d1, rook takes, how can we win a queen here?
Bishop to b5.
Very good, check. And in fact they are forced to give up the queen because if queen here, then queen takes his mate. So knight c6 and you can pinch the free queen.
Very, very nice.
That's done and dusted. Yeah? So hopefully that was a good start, Philip, to build some pattern recognition. And we are going to continue that now with a somewhat more complex game. If that's a-okay.
Yep.
Okay. Now this time, the game itself is not going to be as good as, but that's not as important as the motives we are going to look at. If this copying business actually does work, which it doesn't seem to. I don't know why. Oh, there we go.
Probably would.
Okay. Alright. I will fly through the opening because it's going to be a bit of a nonsense. But actually I will give you back the right to call the moves from this point on.
Alright.
So why to move?
Knight c3 seems just normal.
Good. I dislike bishop c4 for a variety of reasons. I like knight c3. And I would have liked bishop d3. The bishop in this game almost certainly is going to belong to d3. And attack down there rather than on c4. So yeah, doing splendidly well. Bishop d6. What do we do now?
Yeah, knight c3.
Brilliant.
I don't see any.
Knight d7. What do we do now?
Now we decide where we castle. So.
Sorry, Philip. I just needed to adjust the mic. Yep. I really like the way how you posed that question.
So the possibilities here are queen d3 or castles kingside.
Yeah, I would rather not go to d3. I would rather go to e2 or d2 and then castles.
Okay.
What would be the benefit of castling kingside here, Philip?
Castling kingside. a rook, it's sort of open file immediately.
And that's why I
Semi.
decided to go for, even though they played queen d2 first. Knight b6, bishop back, bishop d7. I think they castled here. Yes, they did.
Right.
h6. What shall we do now, Philip? Other than laughing.
um, yeah, that's a good question.
I'm full of good questions.
I don't mind the idea of opening up that F file, bring the knight to e5.
Very good chess, Philip. I quite like knight. I quite like knight e5. So you get another high five for that. God, man, you are on fire today. Or I am being way too generous. I don't know.
Either way, I'm happy.
I actually don't know what was played here. Don't remember. So look. Oh man, on fire! Can't be stopped.
This will end shortly, I think. Queen there. Wow, I don't even have a candidate move yet.
You don't have one yet?
No, I don't have a candidate move yet.
Well, there is a very obvious candidate move that sort of is there.
The only one that I can think of, or that I would consider here maybe, is Rook F2 looking to double on the F.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not overly keen on that because after take knight g4, you stepped into 17 different attacks in one go.
Yes. Okay.
But it's not necessarily a horrid move. I was more looking at Rook e1 in the spirit of bringing the last dude into the game.
Yeah.
Or the guys to the party. Yeah. But actually they played knight e4 here, which allowed massive swaps in shape of this. And as such, I don't think it was really good. Because you are a pawn down. But we still do have some initiative because this bishop is far more active than that. And indeed we do have some pressure down on the f. So when they played c6, which was utterly dumb, white played rook up. Now, why not here, Philip? I should have asked this question. Dang it. Why f3?
Why f3?
Why are we doubling with rook f3 and rook a1, af1 instead of rook f2 and then rook af1?
I'm looking. He doesn't have a dark squared bishop that he can harass me with.
Nope.
Maybe skewer.
It's an aggressive idea, Philip, not a defensive one.
Oh.
Like it should be.
Okay. So that he's actually doing a rook lift as well as a double.
Correct.
Here,
right. Rook here castles rook across, obvious, right?
Yes.
And after king h8, there was only one more move played, Philip, and black resigned. Now, I would like to, before we go into that, because of it was not so much pattern recognition, rather than a piece of chess wisdom, Kasparov said once that when he played with a pawn on e5 in a kingside attack scenario, he considered the value of this pawn to be an extra piece. Because so often it participated in the attack in chasing pieces away from the f6 square, as well as having access to it when he decided to sack stuff, that he considered e5 to be, a pawn on e5 sometimes, to be as valuable as a piece.
Wow. Okay.
Now, my example is a little bit faulty here because the text move would work even without the pawn here, but it gives a better impression with the pawn on e5.
Right.
I'm guessing that while I was mumbling about my nonsense, you already exhausted all the checks and captures,
Yes.
and therefore you are
Well,
looking a little bit stunned as to what the heck is going on here that will force a resignation in one move. Well, Philip, what is our third thing to do?
for threats.
Yeah, so we need to build up a mate threat. Because our two favorite threats are checkmate threats and attacking the queen, of which we can't do the latter.
Right.
So it has to be a mate threat.
How about Rook H3? Seems to set up a...
I do like Rook H3 as an idea. I don't like the way how you want to get to H6.
Okay.
What would be a different, more aggressive path towards that? Purpose, aim, goal? Sadly your move wins too, but I want you to once again be the Mike Tyson of chess and punch them in the face as hard as you can.
Wow, does Rook F6 actually work?
Of course.
Well?
Of course it does. And now Rook takes H6 and then Queen takes H6 mate. It's pretty much unstoppable. And of course takes and then mate is super basic.
Yeah.
So that was another Kingside attack pattern, not as good as some others that I'm hoping to show you. So we're going to get to a few better ones. Just bear with me for a second.
Yeah, good.
Oh man. This is going to be a thing of beauty. If I can actually copy it. Alright, let's see if we can get to this business. Don't look on the screen please, because it will pop up with the last position.
Cool.
Okay, all good. You can look now. This time we are going to be black. And it's going to be an opening that we don't actually play. The French. But, because of we are not playing openings, we are playing chess. Therefore it's fair to expect that you can offer me IDs from here on, regardless of the fact that you're not familiar with the structure. So, black to move.
Right.
What's best?
Knight C6 seems good here. Attack the pawn.
How do you feel about these two, Philip?
Annoyed. Feels a little bit familiar.
Very good. Would you like them to be gone?
Yes.
Do something for it. Something more aggressive than Knight C6.
Alright, C5.
Very good. And only then Knight C6.
Yes. This actually looks like the Queen's Gambit from the black side. Similar to this part of it anyway.
Yes and no. Knight F3 is inaccurate here. C3 is the correct move with the intention of maintaining the pawn chain.
Yep.
That's downright rubbish.
Yeah.
But there will be tricks on the way, so black will have to watch out. Oh, actually, no, never mind me.
Why not? Yeah, sorry, why?
Why not takes?
No, why didn't the Queen A5 check?
You tell me, Philip. I like the questions, by the way. Oh, speaking of the devil. Have you looked at any of your files in terms of posing questions?
I haven't played that many games.
No, I'm talking about your opening files.
Right, no.
Remember how I told you that if you have any questions about your opening files or if something is missing, you need to take a written note and chuck it in my face really hard?
I have been actually looking out for it. I haven't had any questions.
Good, that means that the files are perfect. Thank you. Thank you. That's a very good way to acknowledge my incredible work. Right. So, what's the point of Queen A5 check?
To win the knight.
The knight that is guarded by the bishop?
Oh yes, that's a fairly obvious thing.
I didn't think so, Phillip. F6. Take, take. Please note how black managed to eliminate white's center in a mere 5 moves. We stood like this. We were talking about the strength of this pawn chain, and in a couple of moves, this is what happened. That is a total failure as far as white's opening strategy is concerned. That is, if bishop f4 doesn't win here on the spot, which white did miss, by the way. This would be a bit of a fly in the ointment.
Yes.
Actually, it's not that simple, because after queen a5 check, something will have to give.
Yeah.
Because if I play knight d2, then black has e5. If I play queen d2, then bishop b4. Maybe a little bit annoying, maybe not. But yeah, black might have some counterplay here. I actually would have preferred to see here, would have preferred to play here. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe, yeah. Maybe just knight e7, knight g6. Anyhow, the game continued with knight d4, which was definitely helpful. Black to move. Give me a good developing move, Phillip.
The bishop c5.
Bishop c5, I quite like bishop c5. They played bishop d6, which I like a little bit more. For a number of reasons. It supports e5. And bishop c5 sometimes would step into motifs like bishop e3 followed by knight takes e6. And then this bishop is loose. But bishop c5 in general, Phillip, is a good move. Like, even right now, I would say that that's quite okay. Bishop e2, your turn. I have a very strong feeling that I didn't play the correct move here.
I'm actually looking at 2 moves here. One is e5. 2 purposes. One is to extend my light square bishop, and the other one is to chase the knight on e4.
God, man, you must have some very decent chess coach in the background.
And castles was the other one.
Yeah, I think that the latter happened and the former should have happened. Let's see. Yep. I totally 100% agree with myself that e5 should have been played here. It's a way better move than castles. Yeah, e5, knight takes, or I don't know, pawn takes back, and this is coming castles, then you're dominating the center. Beautiful chess. Oh, sorry, that didn't happen. Alright, your turn again.
I still like e5 here.
And so do I. The only thing you need to consider is that after knight b5 he's threatening to eliminate your bishop as well as this pawn. But in this case, Phillip, it's totally okay to drop this bishop back here, even though it looks like it horrendously hinders your development. But it's more important to keep the bishop on the board, and now you're also threatening to kick the knight out.
Yep.
And there's a very strong side effect. You manage to keep your center.
He also doesn't have a good square to go with his knight.
Correct. Now, I don't think it was played in the game, though. Yep, bishop d7. This is very timid. This is very timid lemony chess. If you had done that, Phillip, you would get a lot of grief for me for that. I mean, if you compare that to e5, knight takes, pawn takes, when we dominate the center and the bishop is ready to shoot out to any of the squares on the diagonal, we have to conclude that this is a total lemon.
Yes.
Philip's turn. See, now we got to the stage where e5 is no longer good, because after knight b5 now we can't defend both of these.
Right,
because of this stupid bishop is on the way.
Um, yeah, that is quite annoying. What to do? We need to improve the light squared bishop somehow, but I don't know how to do this now.
Not doable for the time being.
Yeah. Alright. Maybe something like Queen F6 here.
I quite like Queen F6 Phillip. I think this is a really good idea. They took. That is absolutely disgusting. If you had done that, Phillip, you would be in a world of hurt. So lucky that you are much better than the black player.
I looked at it, admittedly, but it was...
Oh man, that's horrid. Both because of Bishop D4 gains control over this, but maybe that's tolerable because of Queen C7, which may have been the game continuation. But more importantly, because after pawn takes again, we are stuck with this rigid structure where we can't push E5 anymore.
It's not there.
Oh man, I need to figure out who this dude was. Is black. Oh, okay. Some lesser known dude who took with the bishop. Queen C7, I announced it, but it's fine. You have to fight for E5 square, and occasionally you have got a threat down there now too. He played Queen D3. What do we do, Phillip?
I still really want to play E5 here.
The problem with E5 Phillip is that it loses to your tactics. Because as soon as you play E5, you realize that this is a loose point which can potentially be taken with a check. And then you look at the first aggressive move that is available, takes, Queen D5 check, and bang. And we cry. So as per shown accidentally, Bishop C6 was played first to cover up D5 so that E5 can be played. Oh god. Alright. I really need to sit down with this guy and have a chat with him. Mr. Ridders. It's not acceptable. Like with G3 of all moves. Oh my god.
Okay. Doesn't look too good. But this changes the plan completely now, right? Like the previous...
Well, this is when you go like, wow, this guy really wants to die very quickly. Let me help him. Because here we had bugger all threats. None.
Yes.
Now we're talking about a totally damaged king's defense. Long diagonal problems, F3 is loose. All of a sudden it's just like, whoa, man, wait a second. You want to die? Cool. I will help you.
Don't know how.
There is no immediate win yet.
Yeah.
Did you say bring the rook?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I would do, I think.
Yep, that's what I would do too. You must tell me, Phillip, what you think about this move. Like, what is going through your head when in this position they play King G2?
I imagine he's worried that he sort of undefended the knight with a...
Yeah, I don't care about why he was going there. I want to know, Phillip, what's in your head as black here.
Oh, it's black.
It's their problem why they are playing La La Land moves. Our problem is to be the Mike Tyson of the board now, or rather the players, and push their nose back into their faces with a right hook.
Like, I do notice now that my bishop is aligned, albeit via 2 pieces, 3 pieces, with his king.
Very good, Philip. This is the type of pattern recognition that I want you to instinctively use. King G2 and you go like, holy cow, man, you stabbed into that. You are gonna die here. Like, you can't possibly do that, especially when all the pieces on that diagonal, especially I'm talking about the ones that you possess, are mobile.
Yep.
They are movable. Because this would be perfectly okay if there was a white pawn here.
Right.
Yeah, because then this pawn is not going anywhere, consequently this diagonal is shut for the rest of the century. But now, stuff can be moved and removed. So, my dear friend Mike Tyson, the opponent is a bit drowsy already. Time to deliver the knockout blow.
Wow. I don't see anything immediately, but I want to move my pawn to d4.
That I'm very happy about. You want to play d4 because you want to crack the diagonal open. I will be generous to you, Philip. Normally I wouldn't do this because I'm a nasty, nasty dude. But because of you are so much on fire, I'm gonna play this out for you so that you can shine from here on. Come on and shine, shine, shine like a star. That was me explaining why I'm doing chess coaching instead of singing.
Singing, thank you for the clarification.
Did you actually recognize the song?
Yeah, I did.
Oh man, that was a very, very vague and uncertain, like, oh my god, I don't want to humiliate the guy, he's gonna upload this sort of, yeah, so not at all, right?
Let's go with that, yeah. I recognize the lyrics, so let's with the song.
Oh man, you broke my heart. In the end of the lesson, I will look it up for you. I will play the song for you. I think it's called Shine or Come On and Shine. Anyway, it's your time to shine, Philip. Without me singing it, because clearly that didn't help us.
Yeah. Okay, so I need to move the knight somewhere.
No, stuff that, Philip. That is not the Mike Tyson way of how we play chess.
Okay.
I want brutality, man.
Rook takes on f3.
That is brutality.
Bishop takes on f3. Rook takes on f3 again. Oh yeah, he's in trouble there. If king takes, his queen gets dropped by anything really, but knight to c5.
That's the only move actually that wins the queen, but man, oh man, that was a super classy calculation. Well done. Rook takes, bishop takes, rook c1. Now the guy is signing up for the most beautiful checkmate he has ever received in his life. Let's give it to him.
Why didn't he step into these?
Hmm?
I say, why didn't he step into this tactics or to the line that I saw? Okay. I'm looking.
I know you are.
Not sure. Not sure where to look. Alright, so the obvious two checks which I see are Rook G3 and F2 check. I sort of like F2 check more. Not sure why.
Be my guest.
Actually, wow. Okay, so Rook F2 check, you can take back like 3 different ways.
2 only, Philip. 2 only. Let's be real.
King can't take back. Yes. Right.
Excuse me.
So if rook takes, we'll probably take with the bishop.
Daddy, can I have some chocolate like that?
Yep, go on.
Thank you,
Go on.
Daddy.
Actually, either of them lose the same motive because of the fact that the king can't take. If rook takes, bishop takes, then knight c5 wins the queen again.
That is correct. Now, if you did that, I would be, on the one hand, very happy and proud of you, and very disappointed on the other.
Right.
I would be very proud of you because A, you would have won the game, B, you would have won the game by using tactics the way I taught you to do it. But actually, there is a simple way here to win the game, and actually, not only is it simpler, but it's either a force mate or it's going to win the queen with far less investment than what you've done. And a good way, Philip, to go about this, especially when you feel like, okay, I did win the queen, but I feel like there was more in this. When you have a feeling like that, one of my favorite tools that I talk about a fair bit to my students is to swap the move order. So what were your first two moves, Philip? Rook sack followed by knight c5 check, yeah?
Yes.
Right, so what would happen if we actually started this whole business with knight c5? That basically means, Philip, that now you opened up this battery, is what we call this, onto the white king. So as far as the king's safety is concerned, it doesn't matter whether the queen is going to move or they take the knight. So let's just assume that they take the knight. What could you do then?
You could take the bishop with check.
You could do that, and again you would win 17 pieces and the game, and I would be very proud and utterly disappointed at the same time. Because by doing that, you would miss a checkmate in one move.
One move? Wow.
Yep. Yep, I know it would come to you as a bit of an unpleasant shock.
Okay.
But
G3 checkmate because it's a double check.
You should have looked at the double check, Philip. You know that the power of the double check is ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's as ridiculous as it gets. It's a mate.
That's insane.
It was a pretty neat motif, wasn't it? Starting off with a beautiful line opening. I mean, mind you, King G2 was the most horrid move ever.
Yeah.
And after takes this sacrifice festival, I mean, they opted for going there and they still got mated like this.
Okay. Does knight takes on the, what is it, G2 also work there? Out of interest.
What?
Yeah. Yeah, okay, after rook in.
You mean knight takes G3?
No, sorry, F2. I was interested.
No, because after rook takes, we just opened up a square for the king. So this is not mate.
Right. Yeah, okay.
Okay, one more. I'm trying to find the most fitting example for our purposes. And I'm getting there. No. I've done that. No. No. Oh, just bear with me for a sec, Philip.
Yeah, all good.
I don't want to choose too baby-esque problems, but at the same time I don't want to make your life too difficult either. Okay, this is actually pretty cool. So I want to go with this. I'm going to copy this onto Lichess now. This is going to be very short and sharp. More so short. Oopsies. Goody. Alright, so we are going to be black, Phillip. And our game is going to start from here.
Wow. What's happened here? Normally I would play bishop out here with the idea that if he takes with check again, I get to develop my knight. But I don't want to give up my bishop at the same time, so maybe knight to d7.
That would very passively block in your bishop, wouldn't it?
It does, yeah. Huh, okay. And bishop d7 seems to be the way to go. If he takes, I get to develop my knight.
Is there a reason why c6 wasn't mentioned at all?
Takes and then knight. Okay. Yeah, actually that's probably better. Yeah, c6 takes, knight c6.
Of course. Now they took back with the pawn, which I would consider to be rubbish. I would take with the knight too, because it's developing and this is not. The only benefit of this move is that it wins the tempo.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go.
Very... Huh. Knight f6 here. I'm quite worried about my king's safety.
You're worried about your king's safety, Phillip?
Straight open, yeah. Well, his is not too good either, so...
I'm very happy that you said that because we need to clarify something here, Phillip. Your king is as safe here as it gets. His is way insecure because of this random f4 thrust out of nowhere, which means that he's going to be super vulnerable on this diagonal as well as on this one. Okay. So why your king even came into your mind and how currently it's unsafe really puzzles me. Especially because you have got a massive trump card in your hand in the shape of this pawn, which denies the knight's most natural development, and none of the other knight moves look particularly attractive.
Yeah, this is very true.
I couldn't imagine a safer situation to be in than here for black. You can literally do as you please.
Huh.
Like an ultimate scenario where every single developing move that you have is really good, and knight f6 classifies as such, but not because of your king is not safe, it's because you want to murder this one very soon.
Would we ever consider like pawn f5 followed by knight f6 here?
No.
Just take one.
No. Very big no-go. Because you need to develop your stuff.
Yep.
So not at all. But they didn't play knight f6 as far as I can remember. They played queen d4, which was not particularly subtle, and I would have started off with bishop c5, because then I would have the threat of queen d4 mate and winning the bishop.
Yeah.
I think that reveals to you, Phillip, which king has a bit to worry about.
Yes.
Yeah, so queen d4, I think it's way too blunt, and I don't like it. Whoops, that was classy me. You saw everything I didn't want you to see. c3, absolutely horrid. So here knight c3 would have given white a very good position, because after bishop c5 I simply play queen e2, and the mate threat has been parried, and queen takes e4 is threatened, and now I can actually develop the knight here because of the pin.
Right.
But c3 was a total lemon, which takes us back, Phillip, again to a game that I have shown you already. This is how we started this pattern recognition theme of coaching, when I exactly showed you the same structure 2 weeks ago with the exact same color, And black had a very good move here. What was that?
um, huh. I seem to remember something like Queen D3 here.
Brilliant. I'm very glad it came up, Philip. In my humble opinion, in this position, it's a total rubbish. But that comes from the fact that Queen D4 was probably rubbish.
Yeah.
Because I, for the life of me, don't see what we'll do after Bishop C2 here.
Yeah, I was also wondering.
So, in this regard, this example is a bit iffy, Philip. I thought that black
Right.
actually played Bishop C5 before all this mess came about, but apparently not. Oh no, they dropped back. Okay. I stand corrected, but once again, Philip, I'm showing you what an awesome checkmate black is going to deliver in this game, and I'm looking at random queen move, random queen move. If you play chess like this, you will get into a lot of trouble, both in your game
Right.
and after that from me. So I can't emphasize strongly enough, in this position, the correct move is Bishop C5.
Right.
And the other reason why I prefer this over Knight F6 is the fact that after Knight F6 I can play D4 and conquer an important chunk in the center, which is not playable after Bishop C5. Okay? So please forget this, it didn't happen. You are imagining things. And now they swung back. Now this time it makes a lot more sense because of this.
And the bishop.
How will they guard it?
Wow. Don't have a lot of options.
No, in fact only two, of which one loses quickly, the other one loses a bit slower.
So yeah, if Rook F2, you play Bishop C5.
Very good, Philip. Brilliant. Rook F2, Bishop C5, we won. So they played Rook here.
Yeah.
What do we do now?
I'll do the same, but let's see. Huh.
What is the most obvious move, Philip, in this position?
Bishop C5 check.
Of course. I mean, what could be wrong with developing a piece to the best square? We check.
Yep.
Right? Now, they should have and could have gone to H1. After which, I think it would still have been a somewhat more meaningful fight than what it really turned out to be. Because Bishop F2 can be met by Bishop C2.
Yep.
And although black still has here tricks that I don't want to reveal now, I think this would have been fine for white. However, they played here. And the rest is history, and very famous history too. And Phillip is going to reveal us here a beautiful checkmate pattern.
Wow. Wow. I think I've seen this somewhere. Like
See, that's what we call
Queen
pattern recognition, Phillip. That's what we're working on now, so I can't be happier than what I am if you don't need to work it out, because your brain is already clicking, saying to you, oh yeah, I've seen this. Queen takes E2. No, I'm kidding. So what's your move? I was trying to confuse you there.
Yes, you did a good job.
Thank you.
I was looking here, and either bishop, none of them is checks, which is the thing that's bothering me.
Yeah, that would bother me a lot too.
So the fact that Queen H3, pawn takes, bishop takes is mate. Confirming this because of the two bishops. I do the same with the bishop.
Means that you are very close, but
not quite there yet. Huh. Oh, alright. Queen, wow. F3 check. Pawn takes is forced, followed by bishop H3, mate. That is quite spectacular.
That's it, Philip.
That is nice.
It is nice, isn't it?
Very
All right,
nice.
now I have to tell you, Philip, that this is turning out to be way too positive. You are on fire. I am complimenting on your hard work. Nah, we can't finish on such a high note. So very briefly, why am I not seeing your games? What was this?
No idea. Never seen this page.
I always go here and what the?
Oh, click on the this tab.
Aha! Gotcha, baby. Alright, so I'm very briefly going to just point out to you a couple of things that I have noticed in your games. This take is very unnecessary. There's no reason for you not to continue the same way how we always do.
Yes.
Yep. And yeah, you can't allow ever this.
Step into that.
So you should have played a6 here, chasing the bishop wherevs. If it goes back, keep on chasing, and then d6 to prevent this.
Okay.
Now you're dead.
Now this was a bad game. You should not look at this.
Well, I randomly opened up the latest one.
Yes. There's a few things I did wrong here.
This is not
Yeah,
hanging.
I know.
Okay, maybe f5, f6 is actually quite nasty, so I'm glad you didn't take it. Okay, this, however, is definitely hanging. Yep, so this is the loose pieces issue, Philip. You can't leave a piece like this in center, totally unprotected on the file of a rook. 100%.
So,
tactics will take it.
Yeah, I saw this too late, that's why I moved my queen away.
Yeah, you had no choice by then, so here you are toast.
Should I have gone to c5 here?
Maybe, but then f5... actually, no, f5, f6 is holding it together. So yeah, this would have been a better option, yes.
Okay.
Yep. Okay, I didn't get this at all. Because first of all, you're fixing your pawns in the color of the bishop. Second of all, you're giving them a protected pass pawn. And they are actually... b4 tells me they want to play b5.
Yes.
Which is rubbish because you take it, and when they take back, you just play bishop e4, and you will have this rook attacking that pawn down there.
Okay. Anyway.
I'm not going to comment an awful lot, Philip, because A, we don't have time, and I don't want to be giving you too much grief. Just a little.
Yeah. This
Okay.
is a 5-minute game. You should probably not look at this at all.
This wasn't too bad, as far as I recall. I didn't like this massive swap frenzy here. I would have preferred the bishop f4 followed by rook d1, building up the pressure on the isolated pawn and keeping this semi-pin on. Yeah, like, why are we doing this when the king is not castled, the bishop is still at home? I don't like it. This was good. That was good. Yeah, that was quite decent. Okay, that was a good game, Philip. Well deserved victory. This you messed up hardcore. Okay, so Philip, I told you this. If they don't defend this, sorry, if they don't play a4 here, stopping you from playing b5, you play b5. Okay, Queen c2 does one thing and one thing only, and that is that it puts another piece on e4. So now our hopes of putting a bishop here and blocking e4 are completely out of the window, because even if you can play 2 moves in a row and put it here and put it here, after e4 you will look like not that bright.
Yeah.
So b5, my friend. It's given to you, you got it. And e4 is coming anyway, so now you will actually have to block off your bishop, but who cares, we are pawn to the good. And this bishop comes here, this knight comes here, this bishop comes here, you castle, you play a6 and you break up with c5.
Wow, okay.
Okay, I'll put it in context for you. And after the eventual swap, turns out that you've got an extra pawn.
Wow, that is nice.
Alright, so yeah, that was a total disaster. Luckily for them, they didn't play here somewhat better bishop e3 to cover d4. I don't like putting the queen on d7, Philip, because the knight is gonna go there.
Yep.
I mean, granted, you can swing to h3, so I might eat my words in that department there. Okay. That was a shocker. I looked at this move and I was thinking, this must be a mouse slip. Because I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, what the heck is this?
Oh, sorry. I don't have a place to develop my knight, so the plan was e6, c5, and then knight c6.
Okay, that's beautiful, Philip. Can you please explain to me why you need to play b6 to play c5? Because it's hanging?
Yes.
And who cares about that? I wouldn't even care with evil material because it cracks the file open onto their king, right? But I would like to give you, Philip, a gentle reminder that you're a rook up. Actually, no, sorry, I stand corrected. You are a rook and a pawn up.
Okay.
And currently you are playing a knight and a rook down.
Yep.
It is vital to get them out of the way. Absolutely vital. Now, I like c5, and knight a6 obviously doesn't work because they take you and then the queen is hanging, right?
Yep.
So my solution to the problem is, bang, I remove the queen forever from all dodgy discovered attacks. And regardless of what they do, my next move is knight a6. Done, dusted.
Good.
There is no way, Philip, that with an extra rock, you need to do this so that you can get out of this unhurt. This is an ultimate way to ruin it. And you did, actually. Although that was irrespective of this c6. Oh my god. See?
Yes.
I bang on. That was fully deserved. As much as I hate to say that, but it was. And then the icing on the cake is that you put the knight here again unguarded when you could have actually gone to a6, which makes more sense anyway because knight b4 is incoming. And this way you would only have lost an exchange instead of a whole entire rock.
Yep.
That hurt. You didn't miss this by any chance, Philip, did you?
Yes. Wow.
Not exactly a difficult tactics, Philip. You put a rook on prey, I take it. Let's see what happens. Take, I take your queen.
Yep.
If you are realistic, Philip, here, rook b4 is meant to be a winning move because if they don't have queen b4, that means the queen must go and then you take this with check. So that looks like a deadly blow, yeah? So when you are about to deliver your deadly blow, you look out for everything under the sun because if it works, you know it's game.
Okay.
So you have to be super duper cautious. Is there a reason why you're not taking this with a check? I'll take it as a no. There was no reason for you not to do that. Okay. This is strange. Like, why don't you go forward, Phillip? Don't you want to mate this king? Because I am itching for it. Like, the poor bugger has got nothing in front of it.
Right.
So, get onto it. This is probably the saddest move of the whole game. Interesting.
I need to stop playing too many games.
Right. Well, you won it anyway, and you won it even despite of the massive hiccup. But yeah. What else was here that I saw that I was quite happy or unhappy about? Oh, that mate was beautiful. It's very sad it was you who got mated. Oh, there was something in here that made me feel funny. Yep. Okay, so knight b6, which is really bad. Bishop e2, knight c6. Hang on. 1, 2, 3. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
That's problem number 1. Problem number 2, Phillip. What do we like to do with developed knights? If we can.
With d5.
Kick them out. Because they don't want to move again. That's what they have to do now. Move again.
Right.
And it's not like they have got beautiful choices, because if knight e5 you take bishop takes, and then after bishop h6 there is no castling. Thank you very much. If knight a5, that knight is going to be trapped half of the time there.
Yeah.
So yeah, instead we just blundered a pawn. That hurt a lot. Number 2, why are you allowing knight for bishop? We don't like that, so do we? So you take the bitter pill, you take it, whatever it takes, and then you avoid queen swap 2 so that the rook can swing to the open file. You still have tricks here, Phillip.
Yep.
This is still fully workable. Right. Purpose?
Rook 81.
And then what?
Okay. Playing without a plan. Got me.
You do realize, Phillip, that after knight b5 there is no way to defend this?
Well,
And you actually won the game? That's a slight exaggeration, but
yeah, I see a point.
the only way out of this mess is to play queen c6, which is very counterintuitive because it stepped into this. But after queen e4, knight c7 and rook b8, I can't see an immediate win yet. Yeah, I don't think there is one. Which makes knight b5 not quite winning, but a total no-brainer.
Go for it anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, and this move really beats me. Like, well, and sadly for you, and for me, it did work out in your game again. But it was not meant to. This was a little bit puzzling too. What is it exactly you're supposed to do, Phillip?
Free up some knight.
Which is going to go where?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Right, so the only point, Phillip, of doubling up your rooks is to penetrate with them.
Yes.
So why wouldn't you do that?
I'm sure I did, but not immediately, huh?
You did penetrate after this magnificent... Yeah, now you went in. And your brilliant opponent decided to give you a mate.
Yeah.
That was generous of them. But, once again, overall, Phillip, these games are looking better than what they used to. Which makes me happy. Okay, last one. Because I really have to go. Oh, yeah, classy. Mind you, here both... actually, no, only bishop d2 avoids the immediate material loss, as in loss of a piece.
Yep.
But they're already in a heap of trouble. Okay.
Yeah, I thought queen e5 after that would have been good. Just attacking the knight and the pawn is check.
Alright, so b4.
3.
I'm sitting here when I went through
Wondering why I
this,
didn't
thinking to
take it.
myself, B4. Not only is it a ridiculously stupid blunder, but it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
But my question to you, Philip, is that why the heck didn't you take it? Okay, don't answer me. Castles, B5. Puzzles me. Okay. Anything hanging for free?
Right. Bishop to A6.
You mean knight takes E4, thank you.
Uh,
I said, Philip, anything hanging for free, not can we attack random stuff.
Yeah.
Hanging for free. This, Philip, can't avoid your attention. Because it could have been a queen, just as well.
Yeah.
And it totally went past you. Bishop D3, that was another genius of a move. Now, I'm sitting here still puzzled, like, isn't this still hanging?
Yeah, that is very puzzling.
Yes, it is very puzzling. Okay, D5, knight C7. Now, in this position, Philip, in a heartbeat. Bang. Because you already see this.
Yeah.
Yeah, so knight takes rook, takes bishop, mate threat, picking up a knight.
Right.
Like when I see knight c7, Philip, and I did see you and tell you this a lot of the times, in my mind it doesn't even register that this rook is hanging. Because I'm focused on this. So I go like, okay, I take here, I took a pawn, a bishop, and I'm threatening with mate, and whatever else this knight is doing down here, I'm gonna take that too. So he doesn't get recognition for his threat. Because it's not one. It really beats me why we are not taking this pawn, like almost like religiously not. Yeah.
Yes.
So
yes.
this seems to be, Philip, still a constant problem in your games, that you're not taking free stuff. And you made again your own job a heck of a lot harder than it should have been because of these constant tactical blunders. But luckily you have an opponent. Isn't this on?
Yeah, I looked at it actually. For some reason thought I needed to defend my my knight, which I now realize I didn't.
Yeah, okay. You totally didn't, but that's fine. Whoa, queen h6. That was a manly move. Alright, so the good news, Philip, is that things are seemingly going in a better direction, but you also see that you didn't take like 70 points worth of material for free in this game.
Yes.
Like you blundered enough tactics for a whole competition here, and that needs to be fixed up. I don't know if it was because of you were short on time or whatever, but it doesn't look like it because apparently on the last move you had still 3 minutes on the clock. So you need to be far more vigilant, Philip, to the fact that your opponents blunder everything under the sun. They blunder mates, they blunder pawns, bishops, knights, queens, kings, the chess clock, everything. And you need to take it. Which is not to say that I want to train you to be a greedy chess player, because nothing is worse than that. But you need to identify that something is hanging, and then you need to identify whether it's capturable or not. Because on your level, more often than not, no offense, you will find it's actually a blunder.
Yes.
Alright, on that note, Philip, I will let you go. Tomorrow, next week we will swing back to our usual Saturday routine. Sorry about the swapperoo.
Good.
Yep.
Yeah, I want to ask the Patreon thing. We are due sometime next week, perhaps?
Oh, I forgot that. You know what? I will get off record, and I will talk you through that now.